You think your dog is just being difficult, but what they're actually doing is speaking a language you've never been taught. Every time they lunge at another dog, every time they ignore your command, every time they destroy something important to you, they're sending you a message. And here's the thing, almost every owner misses it. Every single day, thousands of dogs communicate exactly what they need, and their humans have no idea. The truth is, your dog isn't misbehaving. Your dog is misunderstood. And when you understand why, everything changes. Most owners see problem dogs. But scientists see something completely different. They see creatures operating exactly as evolution designed them. Creatures trying desperately to navigate a world built for humans. And the more research I found, the more one truth kept emerging. What we call bad behavior is almost always intelligent communication. Your dog isn't frustrating you to be difficult. Your dog is crying out for something they cannot ask for in words. They don't have words, after all. They only have behavior. And behavior is the only voice they have. So here's what science actually found, and it will completely shift how you see your dog. When your dog jumps on you the moment you walk through the door, you probably assume they're just excited to see you. And that part is true. But it's not the whole truth. What researchers at the University of Veterinary Medicine Vienna discovered is something remarkable. When dogs jump, they're not just expressing enthusiasm. They're trying to reach your face. In the wild, wolves greet each other by licking the faces of higher-ranking pack members. Your dog isn't being dominant. Your dog is trying desperately to communicate closeness. Here's what happens in their brain. Oxytocin, the same hormone that bonds a mother to her infant, floods their system when they make physical contact with you. They're literally biologically programmed to seek that connection. The jumping isn't a behavior problem. It's a love language problem. Your dog is saying, "I've been waiting for you. Let me show you how much I missed you." Now think about what most owners do. They push the dog away. They yell off. They turn their back. To your dog, this is devastating. You just rejected the most important greeting of their entire day. Every time you do this, you're teaching them that their attempt to connect with you fails. And here's where it gets painful. Dr. Miho Nagasawa from Japan's Azabu University found that when dogs and humans lock eyes, both their brains release oxytocin. But here's the catch. Only positive eye contact triggers this. If you scold your dog while they look at you, their cortisol levels spike. Their stress hormone increases. You're not teaching them anything except that your presence means pain is coming. This means your dog isn't ignoring your commands because they're stubborn. Your dog might be so overwhelmed by anxiety that their brain literally cannot process what you're asking. Stress shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the thinking part of the brain, in dogs just like it does in humans. So the next time your dog misbehaves, ask yourself, what is my dog actually trying to tell me? Let's talk about pulling on the leash. You probably think your dog is trying to dominate you, or that they're just stubborn and won't listen. But science tells a completely different story. Dr. Emily Levine, a veterinary behaviorist, spent years studying leash reactivity. What she found was startling. In over 80% of cases, the pulling isn't about wanting to be in front. It's about fear. Your dog pulls forward because something in the environment is scary, and they need to either confront it or escape it. The leash creates a paradox. They can't do either. When your dog sees another dog across the street and pulls toward it, most owners think they want to fight. But Dr. Levine's research shows they're more likely experiencing what's called frustration-lead fear. They're frustrated by the barrier, the leash, and that frustration transforms into fear of the unknown. Will my human let me reach safety? Will I be forced to stay here with this threat? Now here's where it gets really interesting. A study published in the journal Animal Cognition found that dogs who are leash reactivity are often the same dogs who are incredibly attentive off-leash. Why? Because off-leash, they have agency. They can make decisions. They can move toward or away from threats. On leash, they have none. Your dog isn't pulling to challenge you. Your dog is trying to take control of a situation that feels completely out of their control. The leash becomes a symbol of their powerlessness. And what do most owners do? They pull back. They use retractable leashes that actually increase the tension. They use prong collars that create pain. Every correction sends one message. Your instinct to protect yourself is wrong. But here's what Dr. Alexandra Horowitz from Barnard College discovered. When owners shift from correction to communication, from stop pulling to let's figure out what scares you together, the pulling doesn't just decrease. It can disappear entirely. Not because the dog learned to obey, because the dog learned to trust. This means your dog lunging at another dog isn't aggression. It's a desperate plea for help in a situation they find unbearable. Now I want to show you something that will change how you feel about your dog forever. There's a behavior that makes owners absolutely furious. It destroys furniture. It ruins shoes. It creates thousands of dollars in damage. What am I talking about? Separation anxiety. The destruction that happens when you leave. Most owners think their dog is punishing them for leaving, that they're acting out of spite. But nothing could be further from the truth. Dr. John Paul Scott, who spent decades studying dog behavior at Jackson Laboratory, discovered something profound. Dogs who destroy things when alone aren't angry. They're panicking. Their attachment system is so strong that being physically separated from their person triggers a neurological alarm. Here's what actually happens. When you pick up your keys, grab your coat, reach for your phone, your dog doesn't just see you leaving. They see a sequence. They see the predictors of abandonment. And their brain begins producing cortisol. Stress hormones flood their system. Their heart rate accelerates. Their digestive system shuts down. This isn't misbehavior. This is a full-blown panic attack. The destruction itself serves a biological purpose. Chewing releases endorphins. It literally reduces their pain. They're not trying to ruin your sofa. They're trying to survive the unbearable feeling of your absence. But here's the part that breaks my heart. Dr. Miklosi Adam from the University of Lorand in Budapest conducted a study that proved something devastating. He found that dogs who are severely separation anxious show the same brain activity patterns as children experiencing severe distress. Not similar. The same. Your dog isn't being difficult. Your dog is suffering. The same way a child would suffer if left alone and terrified. And what do most owners do? They come home to destruction and they scold the dog. They put the dog in the crate. They increase the isolation. They do everything wrong. And they do it with love. Because they genuinely don't understand. Here's what the research actually says. The most effective treatment for separation anxiety isn't behavioral training. It's emotional repair. It's rebuilding your dog's sense that you will always come back. I want to tell you about something that happened to me. I was working with a dog named Max, a dog who had been returned to 3 shelters. He was labeled aggressive. He had bitten 2 people. He was 3 years old and had never had a real home. When I met Max, I didn't see aggression. I saw exhaustion. I saw a dog who had spent his entire life being misunderstood. Every person who tried to help him used human frameworks. He's dominant. He's territorial. He's broken. But when I finally figured out what Max was actually communicating, everything changed. He wasn't aggressive. He was terrified. Every time someone reached toward him, his brain screamed threat. Not because of his personality, because of what had happened to him. Past trauma had rewired his nervous system to assume every hand was about to cause pain. And here's the truth that changed everything. The same science that explains Max explains your dog. Every bad behavior has a root. Every disruption has a cause. And almost always, that cause is your dog trying to survive an environment they were never designed to navigate. Dogs have been living with humans for at least 15,000 years. But they've been our companions for only a fraction of that time. Their brains are still wolf brains. Their instincts are still wolf instincts. And we put them in apartments. We leave them alone for hours. We expect them to understand our complex human emotional world while we rarely understand theirs. Your dog isn't failing you. You're failing to hear them. But here's the beautiful part. Now that you know, you can change. Every time your dog does something that frustrates you, you can ask a different question. Not, why won't you listen? But, what are you trying to tell me? Not, what's wrong with you? But, what do you need? This is the shift that transforms everything. And it's the shift that your dog has been waiting for their entire life. So here's the truth. Your dog isn't misbehaving. Your dog is speaking. Every growl is a warning they learned to give because words were never an option. Every accident is a message about stress, fear, or overwhelming emotion. Every moment they seem to ignore you is actually a moment their brain is processing a world that doesn't make sense to them. But here's the part one want you to hold on to. Despite everything, they stay. Despite being misunderstood, despite being corrected, despite living in a world they never asked for, they love you anyway. Every single day, your dog chooses you. Not because you train them, because they can't imagine anything else. If this changed how you see your dog, let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you want to understand what your dog's behavior actually means, not what we assume it means, this is the channel for that. Hit subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.